Right, morning, morning. Welcome, everybody. We were just trying to work out where in the world we are, and Laura's map was I don't know. I don't think it's woken up yet, but it's anyway. So this morning, I think what are we talking? Process and outcome, Lee. I thought we had that discussion, but maybe not. The question is, where do we go with process and outcome? What's more important, and what's your perspective on it? So, Lee, you better take us into that one.
Thank you. So we're coming at it from a different angle, because when we spoke about it yesterday, it was around the trolley problem and ethical dilemmas and so on. And Edward's frowning, but that's okay, Edward.
That was in the UK, wasn't it? Not in Africa?
UK, sorry, UK. Thank you for the correction. But this conversation about process and outcome came out of whys and hows. And as I was thinking, and I don't know if I'm going to be on topic or not, so I was just thinking process and outcome. And I was thinking, every outcome has a process. You wouldn't get an outcome if you didn't have some way of getting there, no matter how pretty or ugly or planned or unplanned that process might have been. The outcome had some kind of process that got there. I think that's why people are fascinated by history, because it helps you to dig into what was the process that led to that specific outcome. And obviously through particular eyes and all the rest of it. And I was thinking about, and that processes they can take you in all different kinds of ways. I was just thinking about, okay, my mom's 80th is weighing heavily on me. And one of the things that I've had to do is order a cake. It's a simple outcome, Get a cake that somebody else bakes and make sure that it arrives at the party. But it includes quite a lengthy process. Who is your supplier? Choosing the cake, understanding payment processes, then how is it going to be delivered? Is there a delivery cost? How is it going to fit into the budget? So all of these things are processes that involve choices along the way as well, that will diverge based on, and so your process will change depending on some of the choices that you have in front of you. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, well, not opposite, but just flipping it. So I guess just saying that a process is required to get an outcome. What I'm also have realized in my life is that the process doesn't have to be perfect. And that is, I say that huge personal growth has gone into me making that statement. The process does not have to be perfect. And the fact that I could pass that message on to my daughter, we actually were just reflecting yesterday or the day before, and she said, you know, Mom, the thing that actually freed me the most was when I was in college, and you said to me, I didn't need to get an A. I just needed to pass. And I thought, you know, if I got that message through to my daughter, I did a brilliant job. So somewhere the process in me was able to transfer into a process for my daughter that freed her to get an outcome that was much better than, you know, the angst and all the issues around perfection. So very grateful for that. And then the last thing I'm going to say is that, yes, you can't get an outcome without a process, but you sure can have a process without an outcome. And so the outcome at the end of the day is the proof of the pudding. if you're going to have a process that is supposed to end in some outcome, then deliver, make it happen. There must be an outcome. So that's my story. Let's hear what you have to say.
Great, thanks, Lee. Process without outcome. Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure that I agree with that. There's always going to be an outcome. That might not be the one you wanted, but yeah, let's see. Trevor, can you unravel all of that? I think we're going to put you on the spot first this morning.
Me invited to unravel something. Normally I'm the unravelee or something like that, or unraveler.
Well, it's part of the process. So we've got to put each of you on the spot at some point in time. So.
All right, let's see if this softens me. The only way that I can understand this discussion is using a sort of old mantra. Is life a journey or is it a destination? And I think, these IT guys who think process and output and all this stuff are nonsense. So just from my perspective, I think there are times when you set yourself little goals, and let's take running, for instance, because Ed loves that. He's absolutely stupid, but if I go back to my 10 comrades, the only reason I got to the start is because I had an intention to finish. So I knew in that little thing, that little whatever it was challenge that I'd set for myself, that there was an end goal. And all I did over that 1 day period was to make certain that I hit that end goal. But along the way, and Ed will tell you, the process of comrades is, and Jasper will tell you as well, the process of comrades is to enjoy the journey. Otherwise, it's just going to be a pain in the gut, let alone in the feet. And gut, someone better explain to Laura what that is. I'm not going to. So over a period of time, I think these little goals that you actually set yourself should be seen as being the outcomes that are part of the little steps that are taken on this journey of life. And sometimes, I posted up at the top there, for goodness sake. I nearly fell off my chair when Lee took me through the process of actually selecting a cake. So, I don't want to belittle your mother at 80 years of age, but you go down to the shop, you have a look, there's some nice cakes over there, you actually take the cake off the shelf and come back again. No, all right. So it's all part of the journey and to have a giggle in life. So is life a journey or is it a destination? I think if you just select the little processes and say, okay, those are my goals and objectives, and you can tick them off if you get there. If you don't, experience of the journey is something that you can actually write up. And I think this entire life is a journey. What is our destination in life? So I'll leave you with that.
Right, now I'm really confused. Okay, so Laura, you better sort this out for us. Come on, you're awake.
Now get into my mind and see what my life has been like.
Yeah, I don't know if I can top that. They're not topping it, but gosh, I was a marathon runner, so is it a sprint or a marathon? The ultimate destination, it's going to happen, right? It's going to happen. The big D word. I was thinking about process and outcome. I was thinking about your why. What's your why? I think about what's your why? When people ask you, what's your niche? What's your why? I think of it as an acronym. Who hears you? What's your why? Who hears me? Who am I speaking to? If I'm on a stage speaking to my audience, it depends on what part of my story is relevant. Some part of my journey is not relevant for them to hear. Thank you for that. And if it's a journey, that's where the gold is. That's where the gravy's at. The destination, I can speed up and just get along. I'm gonna miss the signpost. I'm gonna miss the red flower. I'm gonna miss the smile on a child's face. I'm gonna miss the tear in my mother's eye. Because I don't know about y'all, but the older I get, the faster it goes. And I was young. I remember, do you remember when you're young? Like, that's why that is. That the curiosity and the, oh my gosh, it's the exploration. Like, now I get it. Do you remember ever feeling like that? It's like, even as an adult, like, now it makes sense. Even with y'all, like, now I'm starting to get y'all. Kind of, not sort of, really, maybe in a way. I'm still learning. And that's the thing about it. It's the beauty of the process. I'm along for the ride. Because bumpity bump, it's going to be a bumpy ride. So strap in, hook yourself on, because we're going to get there eventually. And I don't ever want to be there. I just want to be along for on the road with y'all.
Yeah, the journey. Make sure you enjoy the journey. Otherwise, the destination will be disappointing. So, Jasper, I thought you'd gone for a run. You disappeared for a moment there. It was all this inspiration about madmen running long distances.
Morning. Yeah, contrary to Trevor, I certainly didn't do the comrades with the intention of enjoying the race and looking around at flowers and discovering stuff. I just wanted to get it over and done with because it was a bucket list item and I wanted to complete it, but I was never a natural athlete like Trevor. It was just pain, and the pain lasted 2-3 days after the race intensely when your legs are just so sore you can't even get up. But yeah, as Lee introduced the topic, process outcome. And I wonder what input can I make on this whole thing? Because like Trevor or other people have rightly said, you get these clever people who can clearly define processes into the nth degree, but nobody follows it. So what is the driver in this equation? Is outcome the intended or hoped outcome the driver, or is process the driver? And I want to put on the table that your outcome or your goal is the driver. And then you start stringing the processes together and you experiment with the process to give you hopefully the best outcome. Otherwise, the process in itself is meaningless. And then my mind started to go onto that if we look in life, why are people doing what they're doing? And I mean, the last couple of days we had debates from the guy who help people to get clean water and electricity and stuff like that, all the way to Elon Musk worrying about a planet billions of miles away with no life on it, and he wants to set up a colony of people living there, and the amount of money and people involved to get that endeavor going. But it grabs the imagination of people, and so what drives a guy like Elon Musk to keep doing what he does? But because of his drive to say, what will life on Mars likely be, living under the surface? So therefore I need to bore tunnels. And now the boring of tunnels has taken on a whole new economic commercial life. And we would need to make use of our own electricity, and therefore now we have Tesla and all the electrical batteries from other stuff. Yeah, so I think you don't know necessarily what's the consequences of when a thing starts. But when you start something, it has consequences. So I'm not sure if it's processes or consequences or whatever the case may be. And then I think most people are actually not stimulated to do anything until the pain of not doing something is bigger than doing it. So maybe another topic for another day can be the pain-pleasure dichotomy, and see how we play around with it. So yeah, I don't think I have much to say today.
Well, you did quite well, Jasper, even though you had nothing to say. You heard a few words coming out of your mouth, and some of them made sense. So well done for that. Right, so Ed, have you got your dictionary out? I don't know if you can.
Yeah. Well, no, I know Lee loves films. So when she was talking about her cake, I was thinking about Frozen and Let It Go, because this cake seems to be an obsession. Anyhow, the other film I was thinking about was Groundhog Day, because I know Lee's absolutely fascinated by Groundhog Day. And I think she's trying to create her own one, because I'm sure we talked about this yesterday. She just changed the name from how and why to process and outcome. So I'm thinking, oh, Groundhog Day, here we come. And then I thought, well, maybe she's thinking about that discussion we had about manipulation. Do we have free will, or are we being manipulated? And I wondered whether she was manipulating us to discuss this thing a second time because she wanted a different outcome. So those are all the thoughts going around in my mind. And I thought, well, actually, if Lee is trying to manipulate me to discuss the same thing, I could take the Trevor option and talk about what the hell I liked. But I did find it very interesting in that when we talked on the UK one about the trolley problem, or the whole thing about the trolley problem, or the trolley dilemma, I think it's called, is the process. The process is the nub of the whole thing. Yet when we discussed it, everyone talked about the outcome, about whether it was okay to kill people that were Nazis or not Nazis and all that sort of stuff. No one focused on the process. And I think very often we like to think about outcomes rather than processes. Ivan might be different because he's a techie guy, but Trevor's an entrepreneur, Jasper's an entrepreneur, so they like to think about the outcomes. Lee's a trainer, she wants to change people, she thinks about outcomes. I don't know enough about Laura to know what she thinks, but we'll come to that some other time. And I thought it was interesting when Lee said that she had a sort of seminal moment when she realized that the process doesn't have to be perfect. Because for me, that was also a major moment, because when I first started managing, I used to control. And when I realized that actually, as long as people achieved the results I wanted, the process they used didn't matter. If they didn't do it my way, it didn't matter, provided we got the outcome. And then I developed and realized that actually the outcome doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be good enough. And then sometimes you don't even want to dictate the outcome. Once every couple of years, I do something stupid and do some sort of big fundraising event. And I never, ever organize it. I just do it. And for example, I decided to run round this cliff, up a cliff, along a path, round the back, up the cliff again for 24 hours. And I could just park my car in the car park with my water in it. And I could just pick my water up as I went round and my food up when I went round. I was just going to do it. And I just happened to mention it casually to a couple of mates. And everyone turned up to support me. And a guy came with a gazebo and a stove to cook coffee. People brought their kids and this whole party erupted. And then people came and ran with me through the night, and people came first thing in the morning and bought me breakfast. And the process developed the outcome. I didn't know what the outcome would be. And I did exactly the same thing a couple of years later to celebrate being 60. I decided to run, my park run course is 1 lap round a reservoir. And I decided to do park run one Saturday and then run the course 100 times before the next Saturday. So 500 kilometers in a week. And again, I just pitched because there was a campsite near the thing. I pitched my tent, did whatever. and that was the process. And then just everyone turned up and pitched in and helped out. And I met some wonderful people that way, including, unbelievably, a guy that every day takes his tortoise for a walk around the lake. He carries it. He doesn't have it on a lead. He carries it. But the tortoise actually looks around. Now, I could not have engineered that. The process delivered me those wonderful outcomes. So I think sometimes we should focus on the process and just see what the outcome brings. So that's my contribution.
Thanks, Ed. I couldn't agree more. You know, being a techie, you know, the process is all important. So, but you know, when the process keeps on taking you back to the same starting point, then I think you've got a problem in the process, because hopefully, you know, the process is going to take you somewhere else and not keep on putting you back where you started. So going round and round in circles for 24 hours, sure, yeah. But hopefully the outcome you got from that process was good. You know, maybe not the end result. You know, raising the money for charity always a good thing to do. So, yeah, and I suppose if that means you got to run around in circles for 24 hours, well, you know, that's what you do. The process and outcome, yeah. Look, it is an interesting topic, and from a techie's perspective, seeing that I've been labelled. Okay, now I'm now labelled. I don't know if that's an outcome or a process, but you know, so. You know, you can only get to the outcome if you have a decent, that you really want, if you have a decent process in the first place. Otherwise, it's just sheer luck. So, you know, you've got to be able to see both ends of the picture, in other words, and that's certainly a skill I think I've developed over the years. You know, when I first met Trevor, you know, he was all about the big picture, and I was all about the detail at the other side. And over the years, we've managed to get a little bit closer together, although in Trevor's case, the detail has started to unravel again a bit. So, you know, we've got to try and bring him back into line. And, you know, as I said in the chat box, you know, GIGO, and if you don't know what GIGO is, you know, garbage in, garbage out. You know, you got to make your process, right, or you can turn it around, and that's what we love to do in these places. It's good things in and good things out. So if you do that right, if you put good things into your process, you know, a good chance you'll get a reasonably decent outcome. And Lee, yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, that's, I think that is the definition of madness, expecting things to be perfect, because there ain't nothing perfect in this world. You know, a few things come close, but, you know, perfect madness, you know, running ultra marathons across deserts and Arctic circles and weird things like that, you know, that has to be perfectly mad. So yeah, Ed, I'd go with you on that one. But yeah, you know, and I think it's been said, you know, you can't have an outcome. Well, you can have an outcome without a process. So, you know, it just won't be the outcome you wanted or hoped for. It's going to be somebody else's process that gets you there. So the question is, do you want to be in control, Lee? And how much control do you want to be in? And yeah, I think perfection is a control problem, I think, is it? But maybe that's a topic for another discussion. So I do think your outcome is definitely defined by the process. So got to work on the process. You know, trouble is with most people is they can't actually work out the steps of the process. You know, they operate at a level that is beyond the process, and then they will keep on wondering why their outcomes aren't what they expected. So you've got to be able to get down to the nitty-gritty, you know, like a good techie, write a program, you know, step by step. And you know, you get all the steps right, guess what? The answers will be right as well. But sometimes you stumble and you don't quite wind up where you thought you'd wind up, Ed. You know, maybe a bit of deviation on the path. You know, so we're running 350 kilometers. I'm sure you could take a few misdirections once or twice if you're not careful. But yeah, I think that's me. I've rambled enough. I think I've probably confused myself more than you. And I'm not too sure what the outcome of this process was meant to be. But Lee, I suppose it brings us to where are we? Yeah, we're almost at the bottom of the hour. So yeah, we talked enough nonsense for 26 minutes. Maybe we can have some sanity and see if we can find a direction for tomorrow. Yeah, what is the process to get a new topic for tomorrow?
You know, I've had this topic in mind for a long time, and I thought, I'm sort of been waiting. Is it a process? I don't know, but waiting to see if this is the right moment. So I'm going to test it with you, because Laura, I'm going to put it on Laura. She raised it. And this is the end destination of our lives. I would like to talk about death. I think that having an honest conversation about something, or at least an interesting conversation about a topic that we talk about, avoiding religion and politics and all the rest of it, but we don't talk about death. So what do you think? We up to it?
Yes.
Edward, is that a vote?
No, well, what I was going to say was, couldn't we really have a picture of the cake and discuss its merits?
You're the death of me, Edward.
Death by chocolate cake, yeah.
I will show when it arrives on Saturday, and I will take a picture of it. I'll show you on Monday, and you will know that this cake was worth the process.
And what is going to be the outcome? You know, you're going to mess it up by putting knives through it and eating it and doing all sorts of weird things to it. So, I mean, you know, what was the point in having a pretty cake in the first place?
Death of a cake.
Okay.
Death of the cake. All right, good. Well, okay, so that sounds like it could be interesting. I trust you'll all stay alive until tomorrow morning, and so we can have a discussion about death. But how can we unravel that one and turn it into something interesting and positive? I suppose the first step is that you pitch up tomorrow morning. So yeah, good. All right. Well,
And it's all destination and journey stuff, eh?
All destination and journey. What is the destination? All right, and destination also starts with a D for some strange reason. Okay, so we won't get too convoluted there, but have a great day further, folks, and we'll see you tomorrow. Go well.
Bye.